What's going on, y'all? This is Josh from Team Super Shoe. Welcome back to the Shoe Show. This is the 7th episode. That's right. 7th as in the number that we follow Corey LaJoie. Any NASCAR related topics we are going to be diving into. Super excited to bring this episode to you. We're going to be meeting with my buddy Mike and Ryan Towles, the mechanic and interior specialist for the number 7 car. We're going to be interviewing him and talking to him about his career and what it's like to be living the life of a NASCAR employee. Pretty cool to meet him and get to know him. We also talked to him and my buddy Mike Bostic about just the past few races, the past month, and what we can look forward to in the future. We're going to be talking mainly about some drama. You know, some 22 versus 24 or 7 versus 99. Going to be talking about just history of controversy in NASCAR, which is one of my favorite topics. I love the beating and the banging. I love the fights. I love the arguments. I mean, we all love a little bit of drama, right? So, and then we're going to have the member of the month. It's going to be Cordell Carrier. He is going to tell us why he's a big fan of Corey LaJoie, and it's going to be good to get to know him. And man, this is going to be a great episode. I'm glad you guys are here. Number 7 already on the board. And without further ado, let's bring on the mechanic for number 7 Spire Motorsports, Corey LaJoie Chevrolet, Ryan Towles. All right, y'all, we are back and we're hanging out with our good buddy Ryan Towles. He is the mechanic and interior specialist of the Spire number 7 car. Ryan, how are you, man?
Pretty good. How are you?
Doing good. So I've been told a couple of things. Is it Towles or Towles?
Oh, it's Towles.
All right. Do you like being called Towles? Because I heard that's the nickname. I've heard it on the radio too.
Yeah, no, I don't really mind it. All started because our mechanic last year spelled it wrong, whatever, our group chat, and then it just kind of stuck.
Nice. All right, man. Well, we kind of wanted to chat with you a little bit before we talk about current racing. We wanted to get to know you. So just wanted to kind of you tell us about your job and how you got there.
All right. So yeah, pretty much my job is like if we do any changes underneath, I'm the one that normally does them and just nut and bolting it every week. Underneath, so it's pretty laid back.
Yeah. Okay. And what about your racing career in whole? Were you racing before all this, or like how did you get into racing?
No, so my grandpa did like all the marketing for like Caterpillar, so I was kind of around a lot during that. Then did an engine building competition in high school, and got a bunch of scholarship money to that NTI program, and then kind of just interned and volunteered, and then got here.
All right. So, I was wondering, did you have any type of like learning curve as a mechanic going into NASCAR? What's it been like as far as you going to school, and how did that all play out?
I mean, I've always worked on stuff, so it was kind of just like nuts and bolts. I mean, definitely just learning it.
All right. Did you grew up doing mechanic work and
working
out?
Working on my stuff or building stuff in my parents' garage.
And you have duties on the pit road as well, right?
Yeah, I go over to the wall and get the windshield tear off and change the water bottle out.
Okay. And what's that like? I mean, is it a cooler job being out in the pit road or being out at the Spire shop?
I kind of like being on the road more. I'd rather be at the track than at the shop. Definitely more fun.
I got you, man. Cool, man. And all right, Mike.
Hey, what's going on, man? So you're a mechanic. I'm kind of curious to know if you were able to work at all on the Generation 6 cars, and if so, what kind of comparisons or contrasts can you draw in the differences in working on both of these different models?
It's definitely like completely different. I mean, there's not too much that's the same.
With you. So from everything that Josh and I and a lot of other fans, kind of read and see, it seems like everybody that works at Spire Motorsports is kind of a close-knit family, right? It's a small team operation. So surely with that comes a lot of good times and, maybe, funny moments or whatever. Do you have any particular stories that stand out to you in your tenure so far with Spire?
I mean, there's definitely like always just ongoing pranks in the shop and stuff. And I mean, last year George was like our co-driver for driving the truck, and they would always print out like Trucker of the Month awards. He hated driving the truck. Mess with him about that.
Are you somebody that would you rather do the pranking or would you rather be pranked?
No, I'm kind of either way. I mean, I can dish it out, but I can also take it.
I got what's the feeling like working for Spire? Like, is it TJ the spotter ended up telling us how it feels like a family. You feel the same way?
Yeah, I mean, it's like there's like just enough people to do it. Also, I mean, you pretty much deal with everyone every day. I mean, there's definitely like some people that get on your nerves and stuff, but you still have to work with them.
Is Corey in that same ballpark doing pranks and everything?
Sometimes. I mean,
I got you.
Yeah, he likes to have a good time. So, I mean, it's a fun driver to work for.
So you talk about being the guy that, turns all the nuts and bolts underneath the car. So I've got to ask, is there anything on the car that maybe you're directly responsible for, as far as the setup and the building process, right? So then flash forward to you being on pit road. It's, Sunday, and you hear Corey on, the communications going, hey, I'm fighting lateral grip, or, the front end's plowing, or, what have you. Do you ever feel at all as if your work is being graded by how Corey responds to how the car reacts when you guys unload it, if that makes sense?
Yeah, I mean, I would say more or less like if he says he has a vibration or something like that, it's more like thinking back on everything that it could be or whatever, or what could be messed up.
So in those moments, you kind of feel a little maybe additional pressure going, I hear you, man. I just curious, in my own regard for that. I can't imagine being the guy that builds a product and then a guy straps into the car and goes 200 miles an hour and you're like, man, I hope I got everything right. It's so important. That's pretty crazy, man. So we hear that you're the guy that makes a lot of Corey's race day drinks, and I believe that a couple of different team members refer to it as the special water. Can you elaborate on that? What are you doing to help Corey go faster out there, man?
Well, that's all Leanne. She makes them all, but it's this pro carb stuff. It kind of just clumps up in the bottle, and it's a mess to make.
Well, I hear that we may have proof of just how messy that drink is to make, and I guess Josh, you could probably elaborate on that if you want.
Yeah. I was fortunate enough to get a video of how much you love that powder. So that'll definitely be on the show for people to look at and appreciate.
Yeah. Yeah, the wind blew that thing right out of my hand, like perfectly. It dumped everywhere.
Yeah. That one weekend Leanne's not there, then it's all on you.
Yeah, all goes wrong.
Well, so I want to tell you, thanks, man, for just coming on to this, this little podcast that's made by the fans for the fans. We really appreciate your time. And as far as just coming in and kind of talking to us about your career so far and your responsibilities, both at the shop and on pit road. So kind of changing gears now. There's a lot going on in the NASCAR community. A lot of hot news, if you will. So I guess at this point, I kind of want to transition from, doing an interview with somebody that's, really important with a race team to almost talking to someone, just as friends or like as, fans of the sport in general. Right. And I think Josh will kind of start us off as far as where we're trying to go in that direction.
Yep. Let's start chatting with friends. All right, we're back, and we're going to be talking about current racing. Starting off, I wanted to talk about Talladega. So first thing I wanted to mention, Chastain winning. He won with his Coda car, with his road course car, which is pretty cool. What do you guys think of that as far as the evolution of now the NASCAR Cup car?
Yeah, I mean, it's believable because, I mean, they're all pretty much the same. I mean, it's just what you change on it. There's certain little things you can change on it. So it's kind of crazy that you can take a road course car and go win a speedway race with.
Nice. So we have Corey finishing 14th that day. He finished 14th sideways, so something you'd see out of Talladega Nights or Days of Thunder. And it was after a good old bonehead move by McDowell. Do you guys think that McDowell moved earned a little bit of word from Corey, or do you think that it was an innocent mistake?
I mean, I'm sure it got a little bit of word for it. It came like right down.
Yeah.
My opinion, it's too hard for me to judge just sitting here, I guess, as a fan. There's no telling what I would personally do. Like, you're coming down through the tri-oval, the checkered flags in sight, and every position is worth so much on the track, as far as points in the grand scheme of things. So, no disrespect to you guys back at the shop. Like, I hate that your guys' car got turned around at the end, but just as a fan, I may have done something, pretty crazy like that too. Just trying to.
Yeah, probably try like that too, but.
Yeah, no, none of us are race car drivers, so I have no idea what it's like to be 200 miles an hour, nose to tail, going to a checkered flag. Can't imagine the stress. So, we give respect where it's due, and ultimately that's why I bring people like you on, Ryan, is to try to get perspective from the outside looking in. So, and Mike, you went out there and had a good weekend at Talladega. You want to tell us about your tell us about your race trip?
I mean, so I'll try to keep it short because this show is by no means about me, but I have to say that was one of the coolest weekends I've had in a while. I was able to take my son and my stepson with me. They've never been camping before. My stepson's 11 and my youngest son is soon to be 5. They've both been to, several races and whatnot, but, like I said, they never got to go camping, let alone camping at the race. Right. So we got off work Friday, picked them up from school, and we hauled ass straight to the racetrack, made the 5-hour trip. We got up there at probably midnight and we set the tent up, with the headlights on, trying to start a fire and do all this. But either way, just super cool memories for the whole weekend. Corey came down to the Chevy display Sunday morning and, kind of talked to the fans like he always does. And I was able to, interact with him a little bit. My oldest boy was actually able to get his Corey LaJoie shirt autographed on the sleeve. And he was pretty pumped up about that. I've got a lot of autograph stuff from Corey at the house that belongs to me, but he was pumped up that he had something of his own. So that had me smiling for sure. It was an awesome weekend. Corey had a good run, kept it in one piece. So I kind of feel like, we went to Atlanta earlier this year. He got his best career finish of 5th and, had another good run at Talladega. I've got to talk to the wife. We've got to buy more race tickets so that Corey can, keep having good runs. That's where we're the good luck charm. That's what it is. It's my boys. So, right. But either way, it was awesome, man.
Nice. And he talked about the shoe show at Talladega, didn't he?
Yeah, he did. So I had no choice but to bring up to him the Canadian Mist commercial spoof deal that Josh and I put together on here, and he laughed about it and said that he really enjoyed it. He thought it was great, and he actually asked me, he's like, "So did you guys change the name of the show, or I can't find it on YouTube?" And I guess he was trying to search it up as the Shoe Show, and I had to let him know you'll have to search it as Team Super Shoe, but. That was kind of encouraging that he even asked, because it was like, well, damn, maybe he had somebody that he wanted to show something from our show to, you know what I mean? So that's pretty awesome. As always, it's cool to get a minute of his time and, get the fist bump and, the thanks for the support and all that. That's pretty awesome.
Yeah. Cool, man. So we heading over to Dover. The only entertaining things I thought of Dover was, Denny Hamlin's wheel beating him off of pit road. I thought that was pretty funny, or I almost beat him off pit road. And then Corey finished 12th he finished 19th he was in a spot of 12th until old enemigo Suarez dumped us. So Ryan, did you hear any good little beef at the shop after that? Or
I mean, we were walking back to the truck, and Sparks, the crew chief, said something to him like, "Hey, what were you doing?" Soreness. I mean, yeah.
It's I think we were all pretty upset about that. And I wanted to ask you guys, did you feel like that was something that Corey should have done something about, kind of go up, and maybe something did happen that we don't know. I mean, a lot of stuff isn't on camera, but your take, would you go up and confront that driver, or would you just let it be? I mean, it's not like Corey has, he doesn't have a ton of opportunities to finish 12th,
Yeah. I mean, I would definitely be pretty annoyed about it. I mean, it'd be if I was going to win a race and that happened, I'd probably be way more upset about it.
Yeah.
So I guess it's the same kind of deal. It's always hard to judge, what you would do in those moments. However, being a Corey LaJoie fan and seeing the potential of an otherwise really strong run for the team kind of go up in smoke at the end with an otherwise bonehead move. Like I look at the roof camera on that, and it's like, dude, you were way too low into your entry for a long time before you ever even got to the corner. Like, I'm just not really sure why he shoved it in there the way he did. So either way, I guess I try to look at it glass half full. We may have bounced it off the wall a little bit, but he was still able to continue on. At least we didn't bend the toe link so bad that we went behind the wall. Pretty sure that happened in Fontana, or I don't know that we went behind the wall, but I know that it hurt the car, and that kind of sucked. But either way.
No, he definitely went in way too hot. Corey mentioned on Stacking Pennies that he texted him and said, what's going on? And Suarez responded or he said, where were you going? And he said, to the front. And Corey said to them, that was a great response. So he didn't do anything about it. But yeah, so on to Darlington. The two things that I brought up with Darlington was, first off, the chug of beer that was thrown over the stands, or over the fence, to the Truck Series winner, was Nemechek, and he was talking to Jamie Little and doing his interview on the track. It was quite interesting, and I wanted to ask you, Ryan, do you think that the post-race interviews, should they be on the front stretch? Should they be back in victory circle, back, circa 2019? How would you prefer it, watching it on TV?
I feel like the front stretch is good because it's right where it happened at, so you're still right in the moment of winning.
So I'm mixed on it, just because I've been a fan of the sport for so long. Like, tradition holds strong with me to a large degree, and so forever, the checker flag would wave and they'd go to commercial, and then they'd come back, and they're kind of waiting on the camera to go, okay, we're back live, go ahead, get out of the car. I understand that may kill the moment somewhat for the driver and the teams that are involved, but I still kind of like to see it in victory lane. However, I can't be against it too far, because kind of like you said, Ryan, I mean, it's right there on the front stretch. The fans are right there. They get to share in that moment with the driver, whether they're a fan or not. They get to, see the burnout up close and personal. And then, the driver's raw thoughts and emotions right at the, the close of a big event. So I don't know. It's good and it's bad. I just kind of hate when NASCAR fans get so trashed at a race that they're like, oh, this will be an acceptable idea, let's throw something over the catch fence. Like, stand there and boo the guy all you want, or be upset that he won or did well, whatever, but you just don't have to do stuff like that. I'm pretty sure Jeff Gordon had some pretty good comments about how he felt at Talladega several years back. Same thing happening, but either way.
Yeah, I did hear that they did catch the guy, so at least there was some type of justice, whatever charge they would throw him. But me as a traditionalist as well, I miss victory lane. I know that I've read and heard of a lot of the different things about how much of a circus it is, and drivers getting out of the car and knocking off something that they put on top of the roof because that's not the sponsor they want to be advertising, and and then you got the hat dance and everything else. But I still miss seeing. I don't mind the on the front stretch of stuff, but I think that they should at least show the Victory Lane celebration, even if they're not going to do the interview there. So maybe a mixture of both. But all right. So the other hot topic that has been a buzz for the past few weeks now, we're recording this, in the middle of May, and it's Logano versus Byron. Logano got kind of, I don't even know if he hit the wall or not, but he kind of got, roughed into the wall a little bit. Byron took the lead, and then Logano just decided to just, pretty much wreck Byron and win the race. And wanted to know you guys' thoughts. Who is right here and who is justified? Brian.
Yeah.
I mean, like in the moment, I feel like I would probably do the same exact thing he did, but it's kind of one of those, I feel like it's hard to say unless you were there and in the moment.
You would do what Logano did, or you do what Byron did?
Or what Logano did, to win the race.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I guess I share the same opinion as a lot of other of people, in the sense, like, it's fine that Logano probably had the better car, and, he honked him down from a second and a half back in, 10 laps or so. He had the faster car. He was going to get around him. I just kind of hate that he didn't make it a challenge. Like, there was not even, I don't know. They didn't even make a battle out of it. It's like he was so pissed off that, he got ran up tight off of turn 2 that he was just going to drive straight through the guy. And I don't know. That same move would have been fine just one lap later. Not with a lap and a half or 2 laps to go or whenever it was. So, Josh, what's your thoughts on
it? I appreciated Logano this time. I don't. I'm not a Logano fan by any means. I actually have not liked him in the history because of the fact that he would go and be rough, and then he says, "Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to do it," and he doesn't own up to his driving style. And if you're going to be rough, that's fine. You're going to be Dale Sr., that's fine. If you're going to be, Jimmy Johnson and be finesse, that's fine. But you need to own up to it. And I just never liked, he was never genuine. And so this time he came out and he said, yeah, he's going to do that to me. So I was going to do that back to him. And now I don't necessarily think that what the 24 did. I think that Logano should have done the same move back to him, or something where it puts the 22 in a tight spot, instead of just straight up bumping them and wrecking them. But I at least appreciate the Logano's just kind of owning up to it. And, but I'm not a big fan of rough racing. I think that if you should be raced the way you expect to be raced. So as long as Logano's happy with being raced the same way back, then good for him. He can drive that same way,
For sure.
So we have Kansas as the last race that's happened before we're recording now. And the interesting thing that I picked up was the tire failures. You had in practice, you had Buescher, Logano. They both went to backup cars after a wreck. And then you had Hamlin, Blaney, and Stenhouse all had tire failures during practice, who ended up fixing it and not going to backups. Then at the race, you had Elliott, Byron, Truex, and Bell. They all had tire failure wrecks. And wanted to know, Ryan, do you feel like as if this is a NASCAR issue with this new Cup car, or was that just teams trying to have too low air pressure?
It's probably like teams. It wasn't like everyone was having them. It was just certain cars.
Yeah. It was. What did I name? Like 9 though. And it's interesting though. I guess we won't know until we're up on the pit box making that decision. I guess ask Sparky if if that was the right call or not, but all right. So, and I also picked up the fact that Corey LaJoie and Spire in general, the adversity coming in 19th. I mean, most of the race was, I don't know, 30th or something, and it was kind of a gloomy race, but was happy to see Corey LaJoie not only finish on a lead lap, but he finished 19th. So I thought that was pretty cool. How did you guys feel out there on pit road, Ryan? Did you feel as though 19th was going to be coming, or did you feel like this was kind of one of those throwaway races?
Like it was kind of like it was mainly pit road where we were having a lot of issues on the pit crew. Kept just having slow stops. So kind of like one of those, like 19th was pretty good for the day.
Yeah.
So I'll be very honest. So number one, I myself with Josh, we listen to the scanner audio on the NASCAR app every weekend, right? Because that's what allows us to know best what's going on with Corey's car. Because obviously we're not getting a ton of TV time, right? So me and Josh will be texting each other during the race, going, "Oh, this is going on," or "Did you hear that?" or da da da. So several times this year, we've heard Ryan Sparks, throw an audible and do some pitch strategy and go, "Hey, man, we've only got X amount of laps left until the stage break. Let's stay out here. Let's conserve a set of tires and have something for them on the backside." Well, a lot of times, the 7 car just they haven't ever got that break. They lost too much track position and stuck a lap down and, racing for a lucky dog. Well, I remember me and Josh texting each other going, "Oh my God, like there's no way this is going to pan out. It hasn't worked yet this year." And then sure enough, when it did, when we got that yellow with 30 or 40 laps to go and you guys had that extra set of tires, I was going, Ryan Sparks is the smartest damn crew chief I've ever seen in my entire life. I was so thankful for that call. But yeah, that was encouraging. Like you said, Josh, I mean, to see a car that's not running super good and we don't have good track position to somehow close it out with a top 20, that's awesome. It gets me excited. And I'm hoping we got some good stuff coming for the All-Star race, whether he, I guess votes in or is able to transfer or whatever. I can't wait to see what kind of momentum maybe that brings for you guys back at the shop. I hope it's a big morale booster for sure.
Awesome. Ryan, what's the relationship like with Ryan Sparks? I imagine he's kind of the leader of the box on the weekend, right?
Oh yeah. Yeah, he's a pretty fun person to work with. He'll come and help you with anything and do anything that has to get done.
He sounds very motivating on the radio, at least with the Corey, you kind of have to pump him up a little bit, I guess, and get in his head. Is he the same with you guys, or is that kind of a Corey thing?
It's more of he'll do it at the shop every now and again, but yeah, it's more just on the radio.
All right. So we had a couple of different little moments of feuds this past month. We had obviously what we just talked about, Byron and Logano, and then Corey and Suarez. And I wanted to kind of roll some ideas by you. One of my favorite things about the sport, we don't see a whole lot of it anymore, but is kind of the arguments, the fights, the drama. Everybody loves a little bit of drama. And so, Ryan, I have been told that you are one of the nicest in Spire Motorsports, but I know you're a little bit of a badass as well. So you're driving the 7 car because Corey just had a kid, right? You get bumped out by Suarez or Logano or whoever it else is, right? So do you pay him back by fighting, going on pit road and getting into his face, or do you get payback by wrecking him or by roughing him up? How do you go about it?
I'd probably go about like roughing him up or wrecking him.
Okay. All right. And what about you, Mike?
So I'm a pretty skinny guy. Fighting's not too much my nature. So I'm going to say I'm probably just going to use that guy up going into turn 3. And sorry, man, tachometer wasn't working. I had no clue how fast I was going. And, whatever. That's probably how I'd pursue that. I'd probably put that guy hard in the wall, load it up on the trailer. Let's beat the traffic out of here, fellas.
But Ryan, do you wreck him or do you just rough him up driving past him?
It'd probably like depend on how the like next week was going or how it was going later on in the day.
All right. Mike, what about you? You roughing them up like Dale Senior would, or are you wrecking them like Logano would?
I guess it would just depend on how mad I was in the moment. Like if the guy just, barely used me up and it put me in the wall, whatever, I might only just, use the chrome horn, wash him up a half a lane and get on by. But if this guy just drives through me, I'm going to drive back through him. So you guys remember the movie Days of Thunder, right? Guy, checker flag waves, tires are flat. And he's like, change my tires. He's like, what for? The race is over. He's like, just change my tires, and drives back out and just buries this guy in the wall. That's probably what I'd do. But I'm not the guy that's funding these race cars nor the one fixing them. So it's one of those things. I'd take him out hard though.
All right. So, but say you guys are so pissed off, you're going to go tell this guy your thoughts, right? So do you go and talk to him on pit road, helmet on or helmet off?
Definitely helmet off.
All right. And why is that?
I feel like I don't know. I just going up to someone with your helmet on just kind of seems like, I don't know. It just seems like it'd be weird.
Yeah.
I share the same opinion. If you're going to get out of your car and approach somebody in an aggressive manner and be ready to fight, take your helmet off, be prepared to take one on your own chin or, busted lip or whatever. Jeff Gordon was my favorite driver growing up, and watching him go after Matt Kenseth on pit road at Bristol with his helmet on was one of the most demoralizing moments as a fan going, what are you doing, man? Take your helmet off. So that's definitely how I feel for sure.
I absolutely agree. Absolutely agree. Some people say, hey, it's smart, but I don't know, man. I just can't be a man and not just go up and like, you know what's going, like, people say, like, listen, he was just wanting to talk. Like, hey, you know what's going on. Everybody's heated up. Like, come on, man, just man up and do it. So just take the helmet off, take the Hans off. Sometimes when you get shoved and you're just getting out of the car, maybe that's different, but So, all right. So do you guys think, Ryan, do you think that it's okay for drivers to be apologizing? And also, if it's okay for drivers to be talking smack on social media, do you think that we should be taking these problems out over our phones?
I mean, I feel like it gives the fans some entertainment. So, I mean, I'm sure it's like entertainment value there from it.
It's cool to read about and all to a degree, but I feel like some things should be kept personal. Like, I would like to think if it was me in the moment, if I felt mad enough or felt some type of way enough, I'm not just going to go on like a pointless rant on Twitter and be like, let me see how many other people will like this and comment on it, whatever. I'm either going to text or call the other guy directly, right? And be like, listen, man, I don't like that you did this, or, whatever. I don't know. I see too many other people on my personal feed that have those little battles in their comment section, and I don't really want to see it from the NASCAR drivers. You know what I mean? Not to take away from what you said, Ryan. I mean, a lot of fans feed off that. I probably wouldn't be one. What about you, Josh?
Yeah, I don't know, man. I think about would Tony Stewart, would Dale Senior, would they be texting somebody? And maybe they would. But my opinion is they wouldn't be texting, hey, buddy, I'm sorry. Like, no, it's racing. Get over it, right? To me, the hungriest is going to be you're fighting for that, right? And I don't know. I wouldn't be, and, me as my own person. And same thing with social media. Like, if I have a problem with you, I'm not going to go on social media about it. I'm going to tell you in person. And regardless if there's cameras or not, you got back in the day with Jimmy Johnson going to Kevin Harvick's trailer and somehow a camera caught it where Kevin came out and pushed him like that. To me, that's the man thing to do. So, all right. So I feel as though NASCAR kind of wants the drama, right? They the win and you're in the chase, or, I guess playoffs, not the chase anymore. And boys have at it. and just in general, the more clicks, there's no such thing as bad press, right? Do you guys feel as though NASCAR wants stuff like this? Do they want rivalries and fights and chaos?
I feel like they kind of do. I feel like there's some fans, like you said, that just feed off it.
I think, NASCAR probably recognizes the reactions, that it brings in from, a large amount of fans, whatever. But again, just the whole point of, keeping it personal, maybe kind of keeping it under wraps, whatever. I kind of hate to personally see NASCAR take the approach of, trying to repeatedly post the same storylines on social media going, oh, this happened, da, 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 da. And I feel like at some point you beat a dead horse, or whatever the saying is. Like, there's just no point in it. Like, let it lay dead and move on. I don't think we should try to draw ratings and reactions from drama like that. Whereas maybe we can draw ratings off of the racing product and what's actually going on at the racetrack, if you will. But to each their own. Again, I'm not the president of NASCAR, so maybe they know something I don't.
All right. So with, for instance, the LaJoie Suarez, rough up there, was quite an interesting radioactive, quite an interesting, our version of it with wheel straight foot on the brake. If Ryan Sparks going up and, and other people coming up on the radio, I'm not well versed enough to know who all is coming up on the radio and saying that make sure he roughs up and roughs up that 99. What do you guys and any other scenario, not just that, but what do you guys think as far as etiquette goes? Should people on the radio that's not the driver be telling the driver to go rough them up?
I mean, yeah, I think so. I mean, like, we're all the ones working in the car all weekend and weekend, and late nights at the shop working. So I kind of see where.
For sure, I would share the same opinion. I personally found it funny when Sparks was on the radio talking about, make sure you junk that guy before you bring that car to the garage, or whatever. I guess initially, Corey cued the mic and was like, it's killed, or we're done, or whatever. And so I guess initially maybe you guys thought it was worse than what it was, but as Sparks talking about, make sure you junk him before you bring it to us. I thought it was funny. But yeah, to your point, you guys build them, you put your heart and soul into building these cars, and to see them get torn up at any different point on the racetrack, that would certainly be a downer. And I feel like I would probably be the guy that was on the radio too, going, heck yeah, go junk him.
Yeah. It's I guess it depends on the driver, because it depends on if that driver is really that tough guy, if he's really going to go do it, because then he might have to take one to the chin at pit road. So you got, like, for instance, Chad Knaus used to pit crew chief for William Byron, and there was an instance again where they came on the radio and they told him, make sure you junk him, and Byron's not the rough racer, but you got somebody like Corey that maybe might do it, but then Corey goes and does it, and then they not only get LaJoie in trouble, but they get the whole team in trouble, or get Ryan Sparks in trouble because he was spewing out his emotions on radio. So it's definitely an interesting thought. At the end of the day, like you said, Ryan, you guys all, bust tail to get that car ready to go, and then somebody ruins it for you because of their stupid moves. So, all right. So another question about these fights, arguments, all that, interviews after races, after anything dramatic, after fights, after arguments, talks on pit road. Do you think that drivers should be interviewed just like that? Or do you think that it's more of a clickbait segment for NASCAR?
Okay, yeah, probably more like flick bake. They want to get them like right in the moment.
Exactly the
To
reason
get a
why
good
I'm leaving
story
our
out of
show,
it.
because you got those kids coming up and they got no respect
For sure. But so I'll say, I kind of, while I know it's probably very inconvenient for the drivers involved, as a fan watching it, it's exciting to be able to get their raw emotions right when they get out of the car. NASCAR is one of the few sports where the media has that kind of access to deliver the true viewpoints of the athletes, right? If you watch a basketball game and, a team puts together this great effort, whatever you may hear from one or two players at half court, but it's just a general summary. You got to go watch, the post-game conference, on the internet or whatever, where they talk to them for an hour to really figure out what was going on. And at that point, those guys have had time to, change clothes, take a shower, and, cool their heads down, whatever. I like that NASCAR gets the raw emotion that's in the moment. That's what the sport's all about, man.
Not surprised about anything. Congratulations.
Yeah, I agree. I do feel for the drivers because any of us that have been in any type of, heated moment with personal life or business or whatever, I know I am not the sharpest when it comes to being ticked and then having to respond in a PC way. And I couldn't imagine the pressure that some of these drivers have to deal with to represent their sponsors and everything else. Meanwhile, they're on headline news saying, whatever crazy things. So definitely a tough life. So the sport is changing, and I wanted to know, Ryan, do you think that do you think it's likely that the sport is changing from tough guys like Dale Sr. and Darrell Wallace? Darrell Waltrip, I'm sorry, to spoiled kids. Where do you think that this sport is changing, and do you think we're going to be seeing less arguments and fights? We just recently had Bristol Dirt where the leader got wrecked out. Briscoe and Reddick, they wrecked, and they were just sitting there laughing on pit road. Do you think that that's our future? Do you think that we'll be losing our passion a little bit?
I can give you like 50-50. There's always going to be like someone that's going to have. There's always going to be someone that's going to be like a Kyle Busch or someone that's just going to say what's on their mind.
It definitely makes for good entertainment. It's hard to say what the future of the sport's going to be. In my opinion, I mean, there's ways that I thought the sport would go the last several years and it hasn't. And then there's other ways I was like, man, no, we'll never get that far into it. It'll never be that technical. And then, some other kind of rule or whatever gets unleashed. And it's like, well, damn, but as far as the fights go, I hope we continue to see stuff like that on pit road. I think that's what helps really convey the emotion of what these guys are up against and what they're fighting for out on the racetrack. You've got so many people that are like, oh, NASCAR drivers aren't athletes. That's not a real sport. There's no real emotion there, whatever. It's like, man, listen to the guy that just won the Daytona 500 interview. You know what I mean? Biggest race on the circuit or, whatever. Just those moments where you can, additionally convey what the sport means to so many people. But either way.
Yeah. All right. So I wanted to know each of you's favorite dramatic fights. So Ryan, what has been your favorite drama or fights or arguments? What's your favorite feud of NASCAR?
Probably like at Phoenix when Boy went running to Gordon's trailer. Probably a pretty good one.
Yeah. Were you there for that?
No, I wasn't. I was like 12 years old watching on TV.
All right.
That's great. That was a long time ago, Josh. That was like 2012, I think.
I think it's somewhere.
Mike, what about you, buddy?
So there's several. The first one that probably comes to mind, as far as more recent memory with a funny interview afterwards, is probably the Joey Logano and Tony Stewart incident at Auto Club Speedway out in Fontana. It was like a late race restart. And I guess Logano drove Tony Stewart real low down onto the flat and almost into the grass. And, Tony voiced a lot of displeasure with it. And so they go down, they kind of rough each other up on pit road, and there's a skirmish, whatever. And the post interview with, I think it was Steve Burns. He was like, what happened out there, Tony? He's like, well, you seen it? The guy was out there driving like a little.
Angered you at the end of the race. What did you take issue with?
What the hell do you think I was mad about? Dumb little
I'll just
runs us clear down to the infield. He wants to about everybody else.
No, thank you.
He's the one that drives like a little. I'm gonna bust his ass.
That was good stuff.
Thanks, Tony.
For sure.
Thank you.
Yeah. Some of the memories I have of dramatic moments. I miss dramatic moments. We don't have enough of them anymore. But you got the Kenseth tackling Keselowski and putting him in a headlock when the camera just happened to be following Keselowski. That was pretty awesome. Kenseth dumping Logano, was that at Martinsville, right? And the crowd going wild. That was something else. And not saying that I necessarily agree with all these paybacks or these controversies, just good memories. You got Stewart versus the media, constantly calling out the media. And like we were talking about earlier, should they be interviewed in these stressful situations? And I think he, like Kyle Busch and other people, are just tired of it. And you had the Jimmy Johnson versus Kurt Busch. They had, I actually, as an old Jimmy fan, I actually felt like Jimmy was wrong in a lot of them, but
pretty
Kurt,
good.
there was one time where they had the top five in the playoffs in the interview room, and they said, "Oh, Kurt, you said that you got you said you think that you're in Jimmy's head."
Okay.
And he said, "I didn't say that." And then he said, "Oh, check your Twitters." And meanwhile, it was on TV, and Jimmy's just like laughing on the other end of the table, and thought that was quite interesting. And then he gets up and rips up the paper from the interviewer. So that was a good memory. And then you had Carl Edwards. He had a few different feuds. Keselowski, I felt like that was probably the most violent feud. They had some crazy wrecks in that feud. And, I don't understand why, to me, I would have more respect for Carl Edwards or any other driver. Just go up and take care of it man to man, whether or not that means it's like some crazy fight on pit road or not. But I would rather that than be tearing up race cars and risking lives. You had Keselowski's father going up and saying, he's not going to kill my boy, and then Carl Edwards also had a feud with Kyle Busch and for a little bit. And I don't exactly remember how it played out, but Carl Edwards won the race, and then Busch was hitting him after the checkered, and then Carl Edwards ended up spinning out Kyle Busch in front of the crowd, and then going up and doing his backflip, and everybody was roaring with applause. That was pretty cool. And then just Kyle Busch in general. You want to burn a good hour of your life, you Google or you YouTube Kyle Busch fights or Kyle Busch, feuds on the YouTubes, and you will be entertained with the amount of BS that's spewed out from him. So either way, I miss drama. I hope there's more of it. I hope the 22 and the 24 have something good, and it's something to talk about more than just the new car and who won the race. And I feel like it also puts a little bit of fire in some of these drivers. So maybe we have a little bit of issues in the 99, the 7 car does, and maybe it fuels them a little bit more. And we got a little bit of drama, and we got a little bit better results. I don't know. So, all right, Ryan. Well, thank you so much, man, for coming and hanging out with us. Truly appreciate it. Thank you for taking the time out of your busy day, and just hope you take care, man.
All right. Thank you, man. Thanks for having me.
Yes, sir.
Appreciate you, man. Good luck to you guys, and keep learning everything you can. Hopefully you got a long lifespan awaiting for you in the NASCAR world, man. I got to tell you, I'm pretty envious of you. Pretty cool.
Thanks, man.
Yes, sir. Have a good night, brother.
All right, you too.
See you, Ron. Ryan Towles, again, thank you so much for coming on Shoe Show. It means a lot for us that you take the time out of your busy day. I'm sure you're tired of working on the 7 car and getting it ready for another top 15 run. So we appreciate you and appreciate your support for the show and for Team Super Shoe. And speaking of Team Super Shoe, the next part of this show will be Team Super Shoe's Member of the Month. It's going to be our buddy Corey LaJoie. He is going to be telling us about how he became a shoe fan, and just going to get to know the guy. So without further ado, here's Corey LaJoie.
Hi, I'm Corey LaJoie, and I'm honored to be the Member of the Month on the Shoe Show. A little bit about myself. I am a general manager and technology coordinator for a local Subway franchise. I grew up in Bristol, Virginia, which is on the other side of the state line from Bristol, Tennessee, where Bristol Motor Speedway is. I've been watching races down there since I was a little kid. My dad actually worked for the Speedway, and we would go watch races all the time. The first one I ever remember was in 1994 when it was Harry Gant's farewell season. That's the first one I can remember being at. So I watched Corey's dad, Randy, race a lot while he was racing. Every year at Bristol we would always go. I was a huge Dale Earnhardt fan, and we all know how that turned out, and I was super bummed and didn't have anybody to pull for, and became a Kyle Busch fan of all things. I always pulled for him and Joe Gibbs Racing, and never really had anybody else to pull for until I learned about Corey. I was really into the next gen car and was looking for some podcast and information talking about the next car, and I stumbled upon Stacking Pennies, and it was around the Kansas of last year, so it's been about a year ago, and I immediately went back and watched every episode because it was so good, or listened to every episode, not watched, but I've listened to every one ever since. I don't miss one of them, and it's taught me so much about NASCAR. It's taught me about the race in the back half of the field, things I never knew about, and it's kind of re-sparked my interest in the sport. And it's taken me from being a casual fan to like a full-time fan. And it's fun having somebody to really root for, like Corey. And, he's just such an awesome guy. It makes it easy to like him. The way he presents his information on the podcast and shares his life with everybody and what's going on social media, and he's like a man of the people, and I really like that about him. But I like that he's a mountain biker. I'm also a mountain biker, and it'd be really sweet if sometime when he's in Bristol, if I could ever get to go on a mountain bike ride with him, I'd probably do a backflip. But that's it about me. I'm just a huge Corey fan and honored to be the Member of the Month. I'm sure you'll see me posting in the Team Super Shoe group. And thanks for having me on here, and let's all root for Corey. Woo!
All right, Cordell, thank you so much for sending that in, and it's good to get to know you, man, and hopefully someday we get to all get together and have a beer. But until then, you guys, thank you so much for taking the time out of your busy schedule to come hang out with us at the Shoe Show. If you could, please subscribe if you haven't already, and please go and visit the Facebook and Team Super Shoe. Come join us if you haven't already, and we have a lot of extra conversations that we don't hear on YouTube. This is kind of an added bonus. So, and for you guys that are Team Super Shoe, that's coming back time and time again, we love it and we appreciate you. Until next month, y'all, God bless, stay safe.